Welcome to the Indie Horror Junkie Podcast, where nightmares meet the light, shadows entwine. Tonight we dive deep into the horror scene with Rod and Ricky and Asylum Aimee, living the dream. Hear the howl of the night echo in your mind, where the rebels of fright, leaving no soul behind. Movers and shakers, we've got the scoop. Filmmakers and actors, they're part of our group. Indie horror lovers, gather all around, bringing the edge, where true tales are found. With every wound that bleeds, a story to tell. Join us, laugh, where the haunted begins.
Hello, Junkies.
What is happening? That is a damn catchy song. That gets me every week.
I saw you bopping off screen, so I figured you did a good job there. How's it going there, Lance?
Another day in paradise, man. Just happy to be here.
Well, Aimee won't be joining us tonight, so we're definitely gonna, take the bull by the horns here, and we got a really special guest here. Very excited to chat with.
Yes, I know Rick is very excited about today's guest. Y'all will find out why in a little bit.
I'm gonna be holding it back. We try and get what we need done. But let's go ahead and do some quick housekeeping so we can get him on here and get the party started. So, first off, we of course will talk about our my favorite movie, The Clock. And if
Yes,
it's not just anybody, it needs to be everybody's favorite movie. So I need you guys to go out there. You guys need to all watch it. You guys need to all rate it and see it and rack up the views, because we want to try and do a lot more. So hopefully you enjoy. This is our first feature film, basically under the Indie Horror Junkie banner. It's a low budget film, but I think that we got the most out of it. It's on pretty much every streaming platform you can think of, and it's also on Blu-ray. And on the Blu-ray, it's got a couple special features, including audio commentary and a really cool doc on the old-time radio show called Hickory Dickory Doom that the actual movie's based on. So definitely check it out. You can get the Blu-ray from indiehorrorjunkie.com, or like I said, you can view it on pretty much every streaming service. Next up, we've got Reels of the Dead. Reels of the Dead is an anthology feature film that is an Indie Horror Junkie original. The script for Volume 1, The Theater, has written by our very own Amy Rolfson. We did a script read for it today, a table read, as you guys call it. And
exciting.
It went really, really well. Very excited. Amy's a very, very good writer, and we're really excited to bring that to you. Filming takes place early next year, and then we should be premiering it sometime in July and get it ready to roll out to several other film festivals and things like that. So we'll see how that goes, but we're very, very excited about that. Coming up next in December is my very own... Hey,
You're here.
You're here. Yeah, it's going to be about a 10-minute short psychological or supernatural thriller that I'm really excited about. I wrote the script myself. I'll be directing it. It's coming up. We're going to be filming in December and hope to have it ready to go by the end of the year to show everybody. So we're really excited about that one. So definitely stay tuned for that. We want to give a shout out to one of our biggest sponsors, Tarot Cards.
Yes, indeed.
I'll let you do the spiel there on Tarot Cards. What can they do?
Tarot Cards, the free trading card app. It's featuring all of your favorite indie horror films and their characters. Collect them, trade them. They got Disremembered on there, Graveyard Shark, Flesh of the Unforgiven from Joe Hollow, Forest Through the Trees from Jason Pitts. And they're adding new movies and new characters from movies every single day. So download it. It's free. Trade with your friends. They're like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. Got to collect them all.
Yeah, that is cool. Like you said, it's a free app, so definitely download it, and you can trade cards. You can collect them. They've got a really big community that's building, more and more every day, so you definitely should check it out. Next up, we have the Nightmare Collection. Volume 1 was done way back in 2001. And then we did volume 2 a few years back and volume 3 just recently. So this continues the Necronancy saga. All 3 volumes are now on DVD. You can purchase them through Indie Horror Junkie individually, or you can get the Unholy Terror Pack and get all 3 of them together and follow along and see what Necronancy did. It's an anthology film, so each DVD has a wraparound story that we continue over each one, but then it includes multiple short films. Volume 1 is also jam-packed with additional features and all kinds of good stuff. So if you like horror short films, definitely check it out, because I think we got some really good ones on there. And
Yes.
the film that we recently did, The Turning, which is an Indie Horror Junkie one, is actually on volume 3 to close out the Nightmare collection. So like I said, all 3 of them are available there. Now, last but not least, well, we can't say last but not least, but we also want to mention here the Indie Horror Junkie Film Fest. Yes.
Man, I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be so exciting. This will be the 3rd year for the Indie Horror Junkie Film Fest, held at MegaCon Orlando. It's going to be in March. I believe it's March 19th, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, which I should know, but I didn't. But it will be March 19th, I think, to the 22nd.
Yes.
MegaCon Orlando is an unbelievable event. They get about 250,000 people there that weekend. We have celebrity guests. We're going to have panels. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have wall-to-wall shorts and feature films for a full 4 days this year. We were doing 3 days before, but this year we're going to start early. We're going to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we got all 4 days that will be jam-packed. We'll have some special features that we're going to be announcing very soon that I am super, super excited about, and I think you will be too. So definitely keep your eyes peeled, your ears pinned back, and we'll get you all the details. And as a matter of fact, if you have a short film or you have a feature film that you want to get in there, let me just show you this real quick. Yes, you saw it there. The final deadline is approaching. Make sure you get your if your film, you go to indiehorrorjunkie.com. There'll be a link to our Film Freeway site, so definitely submit because, like I said, the final deadline's coming up soon. The event's actually in March, so we want to try and announce our schedules as quickly as possible to give people who like to fly in and or get a hotel there and be a part of the festivities. So definitely check it out, indiehorrorjunkie.com. And last but not least, let's get up to date on the magazines. The latest
issue 19, yeah, with Eileen Dietz on the cover.
Yes, Eileen Dietz on the cover. You can see some of the other films that are in there that are going to be. That is the issue that is currently available. So definitely check it out. And we just recently announced issue number 20. There's the cover, the Pitchfork Retreat. It's going to have, you see the Clayman in there, which is we got the writer-director here. We're going to be chatting with him here shortly. That's in there. And our indie horror hottie is Sarah French. So there's a copy of it. There's a look at some of the articles that are in there. This is currently available for pre-sale. So if you go to indiehorrorjunkie.com, go to the magazine section, you can pre-order it right now. If you pre-order it, not only will you get the PDF version once the magazine ships on the 13th, but by getting it early and getting it in the pre-sale process, you can actually email us and tell us what back issue you would like, and we'll send you that PDF version for free.
I highly recommend issue 13.
Issue 13. Oh, yeah, there you go. That's a good one. All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. We have our guest, Bryan Lewandowski. We have a lot to chat with him about, some of his films that he has coming up, a film that he currently has out, and some more goodies, as you know, that I'm bouncing off the wall about, but we'll get to that. And before we do that, let's do like we normally do. We're going to show you the teaser for his latest film, which is also in issue number 20. It's called The Clayman. Yeah.
Wow.
How you doing, Brian?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Very creepy trailer. I did
Thank you,
see
sir.
the short myself. Really well done.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
short, I watched it last night. That was pretty top notch. That's very good.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, it was.
So what-
I was getting PTSD just watching that trailer, and how many times I had to edit that damn thing. I'm just like, oh man, just the music. You know, you guys know how it is. Filmmaking, it's just like, man, I don't ever want to hear that song. I don't want to see the trailer again. It really just haunts me, man. But it's
I know.
thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So you edited it as well, like you just said, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
How long
Yeah,
did
go
that
ahead,
whole
sir.
process take?
Let's see. For the trailer, actually, I did really quick. That was something I did kind of at last minute, because in my mind, I was wanting to do like a, I was getting a little greedy, because I was like, I want to do a full length trailer. I wanted it to be like 2 minutes and 13 seconds and do a real, just out of the curiosity of wanting to cut a real full length trailer. But I'm like, that's gonna be the whole short. We give everything away in a short film. And in my mind too, I was also thinking, it's hard to even do a trailer for a short even. So I'm like, you're literally just showing the short. Why even do the trailer? So I would say it's something I did probably, I'd say maybe a week total, editing that thing. And then the short film itself, it was probably closer to, I think we shot that in about a week, a little over a week maybe. And then maybe 2 months of editing.
Very cool. So when exactly did you release that film?
Oh man, let's see. I'd say about 2 months ago, I finally said enough is enough. I need to move on and part ways with it, because it was weird, because at the very end there, I originally shot a practical monster. I had my older brother wear the nails. I put 10 fingernails on him. I literally glued on all the nails and everything. And each day he was shooting, he had to pry off the nails.
Oh.
Yeah, so I did all this. I did a real practical monster, and I actually have the footage. I'll send it to you guys.
Yes.
But it got to the point where initially the short was supposed to be a little 3-minute thing I was going to do, just to get my directing kind of thing out of the way. Because I initially, when I got into filmmaking, I wanted to be a director, and I realized I had to make my own work or look rather. So I was like, I'm not going to find a writer to do that for me, or at least the writing I saw wasn't something I was interested in half the time. So I was like, okay, I got to learn how to write. And then I started getting into the writing, and I was like, man, I've been writing so long, I almost forgot how to direct. So I was like, let me just direct a 3-minute short film. Let's do something fun. I don't want to take it so seriously to the point where, I get lost in the weeds of like what the themes are, and make it too personal where I get hung up on a lot of like really crazy details. So initially, I did it just to kind of get back in the vein of directing and just kind of shake off all the writing and the overanalyzing and stuff like that. But yeah, I shot a practical monster. I had my older brother wear a mask. I painted him all gray. I had to duct tape the mask to his chest, and every time he would move, the mask would rip away from his chest. And it was, I'd say the bulk of the editing was doing just VFX work on literally doing a 2D image overlay in After Effects, kind of masking and hiding that scene where the mask would kind of pop off his chest. And I literally duct taped it. And I did a lot of rotoscoping, a little bit of 2D animation to kind of open up the mouth, to kind of give the face some life and stuff like that. But and then obviously, as you guys know, at the end, initially when I did the premiere, my wife kind of turns to me and she goes, it was close to the 11th hour as you can get before the 11th hour. And she goes, everyone's really talking about the premiere, and I feel like, it's not just close friends and family. It's kind of a lot of people. So you might want to give them a little more of a bombastic ending, because the crowd's going to want more, you got to, without spoiling anything, you got to give them something to kind of go, oh shit. So, because my initial idea was I'm going to do something short, sweet, 3 minutes, show the monster, just to show them it's there before we cut to black and the credits roll. And that was all well and good. And the more I got in the directing, I was like, man, I'm having so much fun. I want to let things breathe a little bit. And, you drink too much in making films, and you kind of forget, oh, this is supposed to be a 3-minute short. But with that, and kind of staring me in the face every morning, I'm like, yeah, she's right. I gotta create a better ending. And that's, to me, I was like, okay, I got this great practical effects stuff with the monster at the end. go back and reshoot. My brother's going to kill me if he makes monster nails and stuff. So I was like, I knew that wasn't an option. And trust me, I tried talking to him a little bit, but I could tell he ain't doing that shit again. So initially I was like, okay, the best option for me was to take the stuff we literally shot of the monster practically and feed that into Kling, I think it was, and just animate those images with AI. And I think what a lot of people saw is that people thought some aspects, primarily most of that stuff, was all generated. They thought I just said, hey, I'm text prompting, make me a cool monster at the end. Like there was no thought or care or love or craftsmanship, when it couldn't have been further from the truth. In fact, it was more of that. It was actually double the amount of work than I initially intended.
I was going to say, that's a legit clay head.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Well, it's weird too, because some of the criticism, and I'm happy to receive any criticism. I'm just trying to get better and just kind of further the craft. But a lot of that comes with more money to get more time to spend fixing all these flaws and things that you see. Because I've got a laundry list of things I would love to fix in the short myself, as I'm sure you guys do in all of our films. It's just one of those things where, you kind of come to a turning point in the road where you go, you know what, I could keep going down this road, or I can just say, I spent the money I had. It was fun while it lasted. I got to move on to something else. And it was one of those things where the animation with the AI was just good. This was like a year ago, really, when I kind of stopped doing the research and just said, okay, this is the technique I'm going to utilize to get me across the finish line, to kind of execute that stuff. But it was just one of those things where I just had to move on in my life. But I had a blast making it. All the rain and stuff, that's all After Effects. And I did a lot of Photoshop and animating Photoshop still images with After Effects to make the set look bigger. A lot of things like that. I think a lot of people actually mistook those things for AI as well. So, I think if I released this film 2 years ago, people would have been like, oh yeah, it's After Effects. And, that's a digital kind of thing people do all the time. But now we've crossed that threshold because there's a lot of heavy After Effects work or things of that nature. People just assume everything's AI, which is crazy to me, because I'm like, man, I spent so much time rotoscoping and putting rain on the windows in the background of every shot in the movie, that people just think it's it's a prompts thing, which drives me nuts.
I mean, I didn't even really notice any of that stuff as far as it like looking like AI or even like CGI. And I mean, as far as the Clayman himself, I mean, for me, I thought it was pretty cool, because I am waiting for like this full reveal kind of. Yeah. And I'm like, how's he going to do it? Because he's got this really cool like bust. Yeah. But like, where's the rest of the Clayman? Yeah. And I think, all things considered, I think it turned out really good. And I like the hand and the claws. Like that was a nice. Dude, that was a nice touch.
All day, right? I love. I just saw Nosferatu in December, I think is when they released it. Correct? Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was one of the things where once that movie is being released, I was like, oh, what a great time to be a Nosferatu fan, because that design was already in my head 2 years prior, and I heard Robert Eggers was doing Nosferatu, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, because it's kind of good timing, or it could be the worst thing in the world, because people can think I'm ripping off Robert Eggers in this episode. It was all,
just a little bit of inspiration. That's all.
Yeah. Well, it was just, Nosferatu was always a big inspiration for me because of the aesthetics, and I always kind of, and I'm really glad you brought up the nails and the fingers too, because for me it was one of those things where I kept kind of going back in my own mind thinking like, why is that such a cool thing about a monster design that I relate to, and I think a lot of horror fans love, whether it's like Freddy Krueger or whoever, or just any witch or whatever. There's something about that aesthetic, and I think it, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, or if you agree or disagree, it's an interesting thing to think about, but I think it's got to be insect or like spider legs, something about getting bony long fingers with long fingernail. It's a primitive thing to see spider legs or something,
I think that's a good way to put it, because
is that what it is?
I mean, arachnophobia is like the number one phobia. It's either spiders or snakes is like number one. Yeah. So that like you said, like that primal bony kind of long, unadulterated. You're like, it's creepy, but it's cool, but I don't want to see it any more than I have to.
There's something, because I think sometimes in some movies people do it wrong, where like if they build a prosthetic hand and the fingers are too chunky, and they look kind of bulbous in a way. And it's just, there's something about the anatomy. I think if directors or someone building a costume for the creature, if they screw those little things up, I feel like the fingers aren't bony enough. They're not. It's something about getting the anatomy wrong. I think it's to me, it's as a director, it feels right to talk and be very over analytical about those things visually, but psychologically, I also think, but why? Why is that such a unique thing to me that I sent?
No, I don't think it's unique to you. I think it's a pretty general thing. Like I said, a lot of people don't like the look of that stuff, and and I think it worked well with the Clayman in this case, because me watching it, and you only get to see like the Clayman himself, like not very long, and it kind of, the end was like perfect enough to be like, I really want to see more of this, but like in a good way, because
awesome.
It's not like you were left feeling like unfulfilled. You're like, oh, that's awesome, I want to see more of that. Like, can we get a full-length feature?
I appreciate that. That was one of the things too, where initially when I first started writing it, I was like, I can get lost in the weeds here, but I was like, you know what, I want to kind of pull back, because I spent the better part of the last about 5 to 7 years writing screenplays and trying to really study screenplay structure. And I found a lot of really interesting things kind of standing on the shoulders of a lot of these screenwriting giants, that I fell in love with screenwriting more than filmmaking. And then, obviously you do anything long enough, you just get tired of that shit. And you just want to, the director and you just like, I want to shoot something so bad. I want to design. I want to work with actors. I want to do all these awesome things that we love as directors. And, that was one of those things where I was like, okay, if I direct something, I don't want to go down this writer sort of black hole where I get so lost into the personal things about the story to a degree where it becomes kind of over the top and whatnot. So for the Clayman, it was something like, okay, but at the same time, I didn't want to be so shallow about it that there was no thought behind why this story. Because I feel like as a writer, I'm like, if I do anything, I got to know the why of it. I don't want to just make something that's just, exciting to my eye. I want to do something that's at least sort of there. If you say it out loud, people go, okay, yeah, no, I got that visually anyway. And for the Clayman, it was something where I wanted to say something about what it's like to be an artist and to make something, and then to be so excited in the creative process of making it and the high you get from that. And then when you move away from whatever art you're creating at the time, and you just kind of sober up for a little while, and you become objective about it again. And then when you see that after a nap or a couple of days of just taking a break or whatever it is, when you do come back to that and the high's worn off, you really see, oh, I'm nowhere near being close to being done with this. This is like crap. In fact, I want to kill myself. This is horrible. That's what I did. This is so bad. It's so monstrous.
Well, I mean, it's as they say, you're always your biggest critic, you know?
Yeah. And to me, I just want to do something where, if I said that out loud, people would say, oh yeah, that I can see where that's going. It's about an artist that creates something, and then he literally gets killed by his creation at the end. I wanted that simple allegorical Frankenstein and the Dr. Frankenstein and the monster sort of allegory there, where I wasn't trying to, beat anyone over the head with an obvious message, but at the same time, I wanted to have fun with it. And the Clayman monster itself is such a fun, silly, sort of goosebumps thing that I was like, it's going to force me not to take it that serious, even if I tried as a writer to go, well, let me write another scene here where he's talking about it. We really see. I wanted to force myself to kind of keep all that stuff at bay.
No, I think one of the most brilliant parts about it is the complete lack of like dialogue. Like it's the truest form of like motion picture. The story is told through the motion picture.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, that was one of the things I was kind of terrified about too. I was like, man, making that short, I was like, am I about to experience one of these things where, I literally create something and then this is going to haunt me for the rest of my life, like not doing any dialogue in that same way. I was like, and honestly, Travis Casey, he's a good friend of mine. He's another filmmaker as well. But I had reached out to him in the town where we live at. And I said, hey, I'm trying to do a short film. Would you mind acting in it? And he's like, I'm a filmer. I'm not an actor. I'm like, well, I need an actor. And he's like, Well, I need you because no one else is showing up. I need you. And that was one of the things where I kind of, and I thought he did an amazing job. And
what was the selling point? No dialogue.
Yeah, well, that was the thing that was terrifying about. Because I'm like, it's all you, no dialogue. It's all nuance in the face. And he's like, oh, that sounds awful. That's not the best way to sell this to me at all. But he never expressed fear or terror. He was just, yeah, absolutely, man, I'm down. Let's do it. And every time I put a camera in his face and I said, you're going to do this, and this clay monster thing is going to be lurking in the background. You're going to have to, act and get real into the character. He never complained once. He showed up every day, and he absolutely crushed it. And, that was one of those things for me where it also reminded me of how much, one of the things that I get frustrated with a lot of things about filmmaking, I'm sure as you guys do as well. And
it can be a frustrating process.
It's a nightmare half the time. And I go, why am I doing this to myself when I'm shooting these things? But the one thing for me in relation to working with Travis was that, it reminds you, it's a team sport. And I say this all the time. It's like a catchphrase of mine, but it really is true. And it may be corny as hell, but it really reminds you of how you are going to fail if you don't have a great team. And you need a captain of the ship. There's no doubt about it. You can't be taking everyone's orders every day and fucking shit up to the point where you don't have any sort of common through line. You'll never get anything done. But at the same time, without the people there, few or more than few helping you out, you really are going to fail. And to me, it reminded me of one of the things I really loved about filmmaking is that it pushes you to the point to kind of get past your ego and to work with other people that have better ideas than you sometimes. And also, like, because Travis, one of the things that we did where we shot the movie for $700. So basically,
nice.
Yeah, $600 was just to rent anamorphic lenses, and so literally halfway through the first day, I had an external monitor hooked up to my Sony FX3, and the footage, I can't remember what exactly it was, but I think the small rig thing broke. So I couldn't use my external monitor to de-squeeze the footage as I was shooting. So I'm literally shooting every scene of the movie with a squeezed, stretched image. So I'm not even really seeing what the hell I'm shooting. I'm seeing it as if my eyeballs are stretched vertically. So I'm just kind of looking at this sort of stringy looking image the whole shoot. And, that was one of the many things that went wrong on that set. But, but I'm realizing I got a good friend of mine here. He's showing up every day. And anytime my mind is on 50 different things happening, and sometimes I couldn't give him the respect he deserves and energy he needs to get him in that scene. He never complained, and he just, hey, what do you need? Or like, let's say there's a little continuity thing. Travis was, he was right. Hey man, the continuity is not gonna be right. You need to make sure this tool is over here. You kind of nudged it with your elbow when you're working on the tripod leg that's bummed out. Now it's tilting sideways, or a light stand falls down, and I'm like trying to, pull focus.
Now the shadows are all wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It was that every day. And Travis the same way. Travis is in the middle of a scene. He's getting in a character and he's just nailing them. And I got this little shallow depth of field here, and he's about to nail this one take, and then he sees this light falling in the background. He snatches it, puts it back, and then we go again. It really humbles you. Filmmaking is one of those things that really humbles you. But once you get through all that nonsense, it really reminds you why it's one of the best art forms to kind of practice. It's such a challenging, fun thing. I love it.
And pretty much what you were just saying, that is the essence of indie filmmaking. Having all those different things go wrong with you, and you can't just throw money at it. You don't have a stable full of people for every single job. You're figuring things out and making things work on the spot a lot of times. And to me, that's part of the fun, as being creative like that. So, and as far as the Clayman goes, we were talking about it possibly being scary looking. I mean, are you talking about this guy?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there? I know you had brought up Nosferatu with the hands, but that I mean, is there a little like inspiration from the man who laughs in that face?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the Joker was definitely something in my mind where or the inspiration for the Joker. It was very any character. That's another thing too. I was thinking, why do we me in particular, the whole smiling thing? Why is that such a primitive thing that I had to include in a monster? And to me, I felt like, I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Because something shouldn't be taking that much joy in doing what it's doing.
That's what it is, and it knows. It knows it's whatever it's going to do to you. It's going to get away with it, and that confidence in knowing I'm going to do whatever I want, and I'm getting away with it whether you like it or not. And I think that's a terrifying. At least to me as a guy, I'm thinking that's something that intimidates me, and so it's something that I felt like naturally I always gravitate towards those monsters with a grin on their face for sure. But yeah, absolutely.
This is coming out in June, right? Is it going to the festivals or is it?
Yeah, so we did actually at the time I made the trailer, we did a premiere in my hometown where we had friends and family come out, and I think that's what I put June there for. So we did the premiere then, and then we started slowly but surely getting it into festivals and things like that. Proceeding.
Is it still going through the festival circuit now?
Yeah. So I think I've gotten till I started like right at the end of summer. I started getting it in and getting places accepting it. So I think I still have the first half of next year to start submitting for maybe summer season stuff.
We got one more you could do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I would love to too. By the way. Yeah.
Any plans to turn this into a feature at some point, maybe?
Yeah, I'm actually, there was a producer I was talking to in LA at the time. I think it was like sometime I think it was beginning of summer, and he was doing a movie with Will Smith, and he was trying to get a movie with Will Smith off the ground. I think it was called The Council, but him and his producing partner were working on a feature script that I was writing at the time. And so we have a script, we have a full-length feature script. It's cool. Ready to go. So they were working at the time, and then they jumped ship. So now I'm trying to get through the festival run with the short and then try to get some people on board after they've seen the short. Because up until that point, we didn't really have the short done or anything of that nature to kind of sell them the movie visually. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I can get a feature done, and I will say this too, that was a terrifying thing for me because I'm doing the short film, and I was like, I didn't even know if I can get one frame of this monster looking half decent, and so I was like, as an indie filmmaker, I'm like, how the hell can I, turn this thing into a feature length film with no money? Like, and so the short film
is a real problem to have.
Yeah. Oh, dude, and actually, speaking of Jaws, it was one of the things I had to do the Jaws, keep that son of a bee under the water as much as possible. Be smart. Don't get cocky, kid. Just when it's time, reveal it, but do it, minimal animation. Don't go over the top and oversell it, or otherwise you'll break the animations and the little techniques that you do have that you can get away with. So once I did the feature script, I kind of deployed that sort of tactic where I'm trying to hide it as much as possible and things like that. But but funny enough, getting through the short film and then having some of these tools to animate some of the practical footage that I shot, I created a great workflow where I was like, holy shit, I can actually do a feature now. I found out a technique and a workflow where I can literally shoot the monster practically for really cheap and then Photoshop those images and then animate that with AI and just use animation, no generation, obviously, but utilize that and actually, and I'm getting better and better every day, to the point where I have more control, where I'm actually comfortable doing a feature film if I had to finance it myself. But at the same time, I'm kind of in this weird middle ground where I'm like, I would like to see what's out there once we finish the festival run. And if we can't, I would love to do it myself. And I think I can. I feel more confident now with the short film as well.
Well, very, very cool. Very excited. Like I said, we'd love to see you submit that to the Indie Horror Junkie Film Fest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where are you located, by the way?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Kansas. It's a town just 2 hours south of Kansas City.
Okay, that's one other question I usually like to ask a lot of the filmmakers, especially when they let me know they're aware from our area. What's the film scene, especially the indie film scene, like over there? Some people tell me it's bustling and you've always got stuff going on. Other people think it's basically non-existent. We have to bring people in from everywhere else. So what's it like there?
It's there's nobody here. It's just me and Travis.
It's non-existent. Way to go, Rick.
And actually Travis, he went to Full Sail, in Florida, and then he moved back here, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that. And I had went to LACC and did a little semester or two over there in Hollywood. And then I moved back. So we've always kind of known of each other in our little town, but that's between us two, it's literally nobody. We don't know any other filmmakers. And, you know, it was one of these things where I was doing a lot of screen running at the time for a lot of producers in LA and kind of cutting my teeth that way before I felt like I earned the right to make a feature myself. And, you know, because to me, it was like, you know, I did shorts in LA and things like that, but I never really felt confident as a storyteller. I love directing and I love the producing side of it and everything else, the cinematography side and the editing. I loved all that stuff. But for me as a filmmaker, I'm like, I need to know how to tell a damn story first before I even reach out to another filmmaker, let alone put my own money behind a project that I can go sell. And so, you know, even if I had a great sort of social circle where I was in a town with an awesome film scene, I don't think I would have reached out to anybody anyway. I don't know if that's just my lack of confidence as a person or just a filmmaker, but eventually I wrote enough and I understood story structure and character arcs that I got, once I got so sick of doing that, then I did the short and whatnot. But I think everything worked out the way it was supposed to, because ultimately, you know, you do a short film and you find awesome people like yourselves that really, really love it. And you kind of find people the way you're supposed to through earning it rather than being in an awesome city where you have people kind of coming to you before you even earned building those relationships. You know what I mean?
Very well said. Now, I did notice in the credits also, it said that the executive producer of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes,
How
sir.
did that come together?
Yeah, Jeffrey Allard was a guy that a producer friend of mine met while he was in LA, and I had moved back into town to start writing screenplays, and he had introduced us over the phone. I think he met him. I want to say he met him at the AFM, the American Film Market in LA. I want to say. I know he went to one of those with him at one point, but nonetheless, he kind of introduced us over the phone because I had a screenplay called, I think it was called The Lurking at the time, or Something in the Dark, one of those two. But, and again, I was like 2 years into my screenwriting journey, and I was so horrified to show anybody what I was doing. But Jeff was one of those guys where he was super supportive, and he saw, I guess, the passion and the enthusiasm to try to get there someday, that he always just, anytime I needed any kind of guidance or help, especially on the producing side, you know, he was nothing short of just super helpful. And I kind of built a relationship with him over the years. So I've known him for about 10 years or so, but
Oh, wow.
you know, once I got the short done, we reached back out to him, and yeah, he could have been more supportive and awesome every step of the way. Anytime I don't want to annoy him too much, but I kind of pick my shots, you know, hey Jeff, how do I do this? What do you think about that? So, cause he's super busy dude, but yeah, Jeff's been awesome, man. Super great guy.
All right. Well, like I said, let's go ahead and get into some of the other projects you've got going on. I know that one we talked about off the air that I definitely wanted to bring up is one called The Witch.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit
what's
about
The Witch
that.
about?
Yeah. So The Witch is about this teenage girl who discovers she's pregnant, and she's about 17 years old. And I'm going to shoot it in Pittsburgh. So it takes place in a small town. I'll probably just call it Pittsburgh. I'm not going to try to, I'm not trying to make a Stephen King story where it's a fake kind of is or isn't. It's going to be Pittsburgh. But, and it's great for producing because you can sell the movie because it's in your hometown and it's great. But it's about this 17-year-old girl who finds out she's pregnant, and her grandfather is a super Republican conservative guy, and he wants her to keep it. And she wants to get rid of it. And so she kind of comes to this conclusion that she needs to run away from home and figure things out. So early on in the movie, she takes off with her boyfriend, who steals his grandpa's RV that he uses for hunting. And they basically just camp out outside of town in the woods, and they run into a literal witch. And it's a very grounded movie. I'm not trying to do anything supernatural for budgetary reasons. But essentially what they find out over the course of the movie is that this lady, she's literally just living off the land. It's kind of like a female Jason Voorhees kind of character who literally eats kids and stories in town.
There it is.
Yeah, there you go. So in my mind, I wanted to write a character who literally eats kids as a delicacy. So the younger the kid is, the tastier it is to the villain. So in her case, because she's pregnant, this villain wants her unborn child. She wants this fetus, and the younger she can get it, the better. So if it's in her stomach, that means she's got to take her out and rip it out of her stomach, and she wants to eat it then and there. The sooner the better. So this lady who's a cannibal essentially is after her because she's pregnant. So, but yeah, it's a very grounded, straightforward horror movie that kind of plays more on, I wouldn't say psychological elements. I think a lot of times when people play in the psychological genre, it's kind of an excuse for them to just bullshit and not really tie themselves down and make them real. You know what I mean? It's always like this. It's always this. Oh, it's just psychological. You don't get it. It's like, well, no. You got to have a point to the scene. Don't just write it off as psychological. But I mean psychological in the way where I'm playing into the whole Jaws thing, where we in the woods, it's all dark. I'm not trying to light the movie with artificial moonlight and kind of a bluish, silvery kind of light that shows the aesthetic beauty of cinematography off. I'm trying to just show, no, it's pitch out in the woods here. It's dark. There's no fill light that kind of shows the trees a little bit. It's black outside of a campfire. That's your light. Now, obviously, as a cinematographer, I'm going to light it sexy and beautiful and soft shadows and all that great stuff. But I want to play more in the shadows and in the darkness of the woods and the countryside. So that's what I mean by psychological, and I can hide the monster more. I don't have to fall into that sort of that trap of getting bogged down and spending a whole day putting someone in prosthetics and things like that. I want to kind of play more into who this girl is, what she's done to herself, why she put herself out in the woods, and what ultimately she has to decide to do now that this woman literally wants to take this baby out of her stomach, and what that means to her as a 17-year-old girl in a situation like that. And to me, I just wanted to kind of, again, do something that I want to play with a really serious subject, but still make it a, dare I say, fun horror movie without it being too shallow and too smart.
I mean, from what you've described, I don't know if I'd use the word fun.
It's a very dark Hallmark.
Yeah. I'm gonna have fun making it. That's I'll
exactly. You're gonna have fun making it.
Yeah.
So what's the status on this one?
So right now I've got my buddy Mike, who's the writer and director on The Shark That Roared. It's a documentary, the Jaws 4 documentary. He's on board, and I've got about 75% of the script finished right now. So I should have that done roughly within a week or so. And then after that, we're going to try to we have a couple investors interested in helping us do the movie, but I'm trying to raise 20 grand or so, because like with the Clayman, that was a big thing for me. Was I was trying to test out how much, what level of production value can I get away with a limited amount of money, if no money at all, and kind of prove that to myself before going into feature territory, because it's not about control with me. It's just about getting all the right pieces there and just having enough time to do it without stressing out about details and things that really don't amount to anything on screen, and getting so surgical about knowing what I need on this so that I don't have to spend 90% of my time raising money and things like that. So, but yeah, man, so I'd say probably here within the next month or so, I should be into producer mode again and getting that thing off the ground and raising money for that.
Very cool.
Absolutely. So definitely, any way, like I've told you before, any way that we can help you promote it or get it out there, let me know. But during our conversations here, I don't think I've heard more than 12 different Jaws references or things like that. We may as well.
I was not baiting you.
Right. No, not at all. Not at all.
You don't have to bait Rick with Jaws. Trust me.
The whole time.
Rick's already jumped in the water at this point.
Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a huge Jaws fanatic. So any chance I get a chance to talk about Jaws, I definitely want to. So when I saw here that you were a producer for this upcoming film,
yes, sir,
I definitely wanted to make sure that we take some time and chat about this. Kevin Smith actually came down here and worked with a few people a couple years back to make a movie called Kilroy Was Here. And I think he ended up, my understanding is they ended up turning that into like some kind of an NFT or something like that, or whatever it is, and selling it. I'm not quite sure how that works or what that's about or whatever became of it. But I had a few friends that helped him work on that. But
awesome, man. He's a great guy too, dude. He's an awesome dude. Like from what
I've heard
about Mike and working with him, I initially one of the things I helped out with on the movie was Mike reached out to me, and actually, I do movie poster designs on the side and stuff to kind of pay for bills and things in between projects. And Mike was one of those guys that reached out to me a little while back and did a poster for him. The first teaser poster I did for him on the Shark That Roared. At the time, it was called Jaws Goes to the Bahamas, which I still love that name too, by the way. It's such a fun.
I've seen that image somewhere.
Right? Yeah. Dude, and Mike couldn't have been, again, one of these just awesome people. And over the time, just working with him on the poster, so we became awesome friends. And one thing led to another. And I've been watching him slowly gather all these awesome interviews, and he showed me a cut of the trailer and all these things. And eventually, once Kevin hopped on board, they wanted a poster. So I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, dude, just throw me producer credit. Let's go. You don't have to ask me twice. So I did a poster for them, and we kind of worked on that with Kevin Smith. And yeah, we just got that done, I think like 2 weeks ago, actually. And yeah, man, but yeah, from what I heard from Kevin, we got he's going to be in the movie. Got a great interview with him. But yeah, man, it's, and Mike is one of these guys where he just loves movies. And Jaws 4 is one of those movies that you have to love that movie to do a documentary about that. Documentary or no documentary, to love a movie is something that's like, we've all liked movies that we're like scared to like, and we have friends that are, you like that movie? What does that say about you? And it's like, but to do a whole documentary, to go out there and like, oh no, I love this movie. I love it so much. I'm doing a documentary. To me, that's something about Mike, is he's got all this enthusiasm, and he's doing a kick-ass job with it, man. I'm super excited to see him release it.
Well, like I said, I'm a huge Jaws fan. The original Jaws, to me, is probably my holy grail of films, and I've seen it. I don't know how many times. I could recite probably every piece of dialogue on it, and done so many different things. Jaws 2, I enjoyed. I saw that in the theaters as well, even though that couldn't compare, but it had a few great moments. And
I think it was a solid sequel.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
Jaws 3 as well. I saw that in 3D in the theaters. Didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much as the other two. But to me, the fact that it was Jaws and had Louis Gossett and this and that. Now, this movie, Jaws 4, I remember I saw that in the theaters too. That just goes to show you that I probably live in the theaters. But I actually read the novel for Jaws 4, actually, too.
Nice.
And the novel was really good. I enjoyed the novel. The movie seemed to take things in a whole different angle and only, big little things or whatever it is from the novel came to light. But the novel itself, I thought would have made a really cool movie. That's why I was excited to see the movie. And then I saw the movie, and I'm like, okay. But
that's
the title is what gets me, The Shark That Roared, because that was always the one little part that always stuck into my head. Like, what the fuck is a shark roaring coming out of the water?
There's a vocal cords. God damn it! What the hell is it?
So where did this start? Whose idea was this to decide that, hey, this movie needs a documentary and this is what we're going to do? And how did that come about?
Yeah, it was Mike all day. I mean, like I said, Mike was one of those people that basically he was. I think he was probably at 25 to 50% of the way done with the movie at the time he needed that poster done. At least I want to say so. But he basically got a hold of me to do the poster, and he already hit the ground running. He was already interviews, 3 or 4 interviews deep, I believe, at the time. But and actually to bring up The Shark That Roared, that's one of the things where initially, whenever he reached out to me, he said, hey, we're gonna, I don't know if he wants me to talk about this, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway. I love you, Mike. Sorry. But what happened was he had said, oh yeah, Kevin's on board. He wants to call the movie The Shark That Roared. And I was like, oh, it's interesting. Okay, get it. Yeah. But I as an artist, you kind of get, I love your title though. What about yours? And then I was like 2-3 seconds go by. I'm like, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. And I guess in my mind, because it kind of goes back to what you're talking about. It's the one unique thing about the movie that really sticks out more than anything. And that's just kind of more proof that Kevin Smith isn't Kevin Smith, for any other reason than him being a genius. And it's just little things like that he came on board and was like, oh yeah, we're calling it this. And I don't know, Mike was probably maybe
and the irony with that is, if you take a look at the saturated shark film market, if anything, one of the things that is stuck is sharks that do roar in some of these low budget shark films. And I mean, whether it be Sharktopus or Graveyard Shark, there's some sort of roaring and gurring going on with these sharks, so that's, you could take that away like it's the shark that roars, and clearly it's stuck with a lot of these low budget independent filmmakers because a lot of them are roaring these days.
Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up too, because it has this double meaning where it's the shark movie that lived on despite it getting shit on for so many years, like all the other sequels.
And that's the other thing.
Yeah. It's the shark that literally roared. And that was one of those things where I think initially on the first poster I did for them, I said, "You'll believe a shark can roar," as a throwback to the old Superman movies, believing a man could fly on those posters. But that's the one thing that I was like, yeah, the title's perfect. I mean, the more I thought of it, like, yeah, this it's perfect, because it's one of the things about that documentary for me that I really love, and I really like the direction that Mike is taking it in, is that he's not making fun of the movie. The documentary is about celebrating that. No, it's got its flaws. What movie doesn't? And maybe it has worse flaws than other movies in a particular way, but across the board, the story's there. It's about a woman that's kind of overcoming the death of her kids and her husband, or she's trying to get over something. And a shark, whether you agree with the plot or not, it's still ultimately about someone just dealing with death and how they're trying to just get through that. And ultimately, the story works on a very primitive level like that. And I think at the core of most stories, if you get that right, it will stand the test of time. Despite the craftsmanship and the way you executed it, that you can kind of, it's a little more malleable and stuff. But one of the things I love about what Mike's doing with it is that he's celebrating the movie. It's not making fun of the movie as much as there's things to make fun of, but overall it's a movie that he believes it's something that is worth celebrating and cherishing. And
I think it says a lot about I think it says a lot about Mike and his character too, to want to do a documentary on of all Jaws films, that one, because it is one of the least liked ones, if not the least liked one.
Exactly.
But,
the least liked one, yes. But I mean, like you said, has been shit on so much, it's almost comical to this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, it says a lot about him and his love for that movie, because there's so many Jaws documentaries on the original film that all the other ones kind of get swept under the rug, and I think it would be easy for somebody to be like, well, I want to do another Jaws documentary. And I think that's a safe way to go about making, he's taking a big risk doing a Jaws 4 documentary, the documentary that nobody asked for, but we're going to get regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And you're going to believe shark.
Because like you said, the movie's been basically a punchline for Hollywood.
I was trying to be nice for Rick's sake.
Absolutely, I'm going to watch it for sure. The day it comes out, or the day I get it, whatever. But I remember seeing an interview with Michael Caine, who was one of the people in the movie. And Michael Caine said he was talking to some fan that he had met, who basically was giving him all kinds of shit about how bad that movie was. And basically, he asked Michael Caine, he goes, "Have you seen the movie yourself?" And Michael Caine told him, "No, I haven't. But I did see the house that the movie bought my mother, and it's quite nice." So that's good stuff. But I mean, like I said, the novel is really good. If you haven't had a chance to read it, you should check it out, because it had a lot of mob ties and stuff, and there were a lot of really cool scenes. So the shark was there, but the shark, I don't think, was the biggest piece, at least throughout that movie. It was that thing with them and the family and the mob.
Secondary villain. It was kind of secondary villain to some of the.
Okay. But then in the movie, it took a whole new life.
Yeah.
And everything else.
That's the hard thing too. It's like, because sequel, it's like you can do the same thing over and over, and I get why you would, but at the same time, you end up in Jaws 4 territory where it's like, did the shark follow her there? Is it just kind of, but there's like a psychic connection going on with the shark and her. It's like, what the hell is going on? But there's always that delicate balance between finding out how much to give the audience of the first movie and then how far away to take them away from that plot that works so well. I mean, even in the end of Jaws 4, where one of the characters gets killed, he gets killed off like almost at the exact same time Quentin gets killed off in the end of Jaws. So it's like they almost follow it down to a formulaic, which is great, don't get me wrong, but they just swap out characters and give them sort of different motivations to do things. But ultimately, they follow enough of that formula and the plot structure without it being so over the top that it doesn't kind of get in the way of this sort of simple through line of what that story is ultimately about. And the craftsmanship is better. Maybe would be celebrated more.
That's you're kind of still in the infancy of shark film territory. It's not saturated yet, and you couldn't do all the fun CGI stuff yet, so you kind of had to play along to the same type of plot each and every time.
What are you gonna do? Have them fighting Yeah, it's just what. Yeah,
I mean, now
there's
sharks
no-
do anything and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have to naturally. I mean, it should be, because that's the thing too. It's like, yeah, Jaws 4 could. It's like, guys, Jaws 4 could have been in space. Do you realize that? They could have done that, but they didn't. They kept it grounded enough. Relax. You know what I mean? Like people, yeah, because people like they forget that there's an infinite number of ways that you could make something worse, and they focus so much on what something is, and and that's another thing that too I love about Mike, and I think
that's a great line by the way. There's an infinite number of ways to make something worse.
Yeah, and I think because I'm kind of an optimist when I watch a movie. Like I get like I can watch a movie and be like, oh, people are gonna hate this. At the same time, like, but I'm loving it because I'm wanting to love it. My ticket was bought already. I'm not getting a refund. So I'm sitting in the movie theater going, I have to enjoy this. I'm the one that gets screwed if I don't. I'm screwing myself if I don't want to have fun. You know what
doing
I mean?
myself a disservice if I walk out of here.
Yeah, the ticket's bought. Like, you're not getting a refund back. You might want to try to have fun. And I feel like so much of it now is like, at least especially with critics, is that they get out of a movie and they all look at another critic's review or whatever, and they try to outdo each other and how much they hate about it, so they don't look stupid to the next critic. And it's this game of like usually what happens is a critic gets out of the movie theater and they'll go, oh, I saw 2 things wrong with that movie. And then the guy standing next to him that's a critic as well. He'll say, oh, you only saw 2 things? I saw 3 things. And the guy next to him is going, I saw 10 things wrong with it. I'm smarter than all you. So it's the rewarding being a negative shithead. And to me, that's not why I like watching movies. I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to understand that there's a lot of problems and hurdles that got in the way of what they try to do. And I think if you at least keep that in mind, I'm not saying that's an excuse for bad filmmaking, but I don't think people even try to keep that in mind. That's something that I think Mike and I have kind of related to, is that we just love movies and we're optimistic about trying to see the best in movies, for better or worse.
I follow the same philosophy when I do my reviews. I mean, even if it is a bad movie, and I've watched some pretty bad movies, I try to find some sort of silver lining that, this was a good aspect of this movie. Here's the things that they could work on. Yeah. And, I'm not a filmmaker myself. I've done a few things and worked on a set a couple of times, and I'm starting to understand how difficult the process can be. So I try to take that into account. Like, it's not an easy feat to make a movie, regardless of how good or bad it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I don't like filmmakers that use that as an excuse at the same time. Like if they go, oh well, you don't understand, I had it hard. It's like, I don't care. You still showed me a really bad movie. But it's like, the least thing that you can do for anyone looking at anything critically, in my opinion, is to try, at least try to give it a chance. And I feel like people say that, but do people really give most movies a chance nowadays? No. They want to be seen as this pretentious, sort of artsy fartsy asshole who is taken seriously versus going in and actually watching a good movie. Like, I'll say, for example, people love Christopher Nolan movies. I love Christopher Nolan too, as much as the next guy. But if you think he is the Steven Spielberg of our generation, you don't know shit about that man. Okay, sorry.
I like Christopher Nolan Batman movies.
Dude, Dark Knight, great movie. Okay?
Some of the other stuff,
yeah. It's like, I mean, no one's being honest anymore, because everyone's everyone heard that being a Christopher Nolan fanboy is what it means to be a smart person. So everyone's jumped on the bandwagon of praising this guy. And it's like, dude, the guy can't shoot an action scene to save his life. And he's not getting better at it, by the way. He's getting worse. And he's supposed to be this historically accurate kind of filmmaker who, oh, this guy gets the detail. Dude, he's still screwing up. Look at the behind the scenes stuff of the costumes on the Odyssey. That is the guy. He's not. I hate to shit on Chris Nolan. I'm probably getting so much shit for it. And bring it on, by the way. I don't care. But at the same time, it's like, I can appreciate the movies that he did do well, and I can also acknowledge that he's not the best filmmaker on earth, and that there's better filmmakers. And no filmmaker is perfect, but I'm just not a big fan of critics that kind of want to be. They're in it to look smart, and they're not really in it to really critique a movie on at least optimistic, common sense terms.
When I think, like for me, like the biggest thing that I think gets overlooked these days is the actual entertainment value in a film.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the film, is it something I'm going to watch again? Like I can appreciate Oppenheimer and what it was. I'm probably not going to sit through that film again.
Exactly.
Graveyard Shark, I could watch 100 times and it'll always be a freaking good time. Say what you will, Rick. Okay,
I haven't said anything.
It is a fun movie.
That's the thing, because certain filmmakers will set out to go, I know what movie I'm making, and I'm going to go make that movie. You know, and I'm not saying people have to love it. It's just, but if you go in there expecting to watch Oppenheimer and you're watching that movie and you're going, this ain't Oppenheimer, it's like, dude, you're missing the point. And it's that kind of thing, that disconnect that I think schmarmy people do that I can't stand.
Well, it's a lot like Quentin Tarantino says too. He says, I don't make movies for you guys. I make movies for me. You guys are invited to watch it.
Exactly.
But I'm doing it for me.
Yeah,
and that's the way it really should be, because that's your name at the end, and with directed by so-and-so, whatever it is, that should be your vision, and that's what you wanted to put out there. So not everybody's going to be pleased about everything, but let me know real quick, because we're getting ready to close out the show here, but let me know what is the status of the Shark Day Road? Where are we at? When we can see it?
So in about 2 weeks or so, I'd say somewhere around Thanksgiving, we should have a trailer out for you guys, and I'll definitely send it your way. So yeah, I'd say about two weeks or so, definitely around Thanksgiving time, there should be a trailer coming out.
When's it actually coming out?
I think they're going to try to do it here about a year or two, right around the exact timing of the 40th anniversary.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, yeah. So he got it before that anniversary came up, I believe. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, he's going to try to time it right around then. So we're a little ways out, but I think he's still getting interviews done and still editing up. And actually, he's raising funds for it right now as we speak on Kickstarter. And you guys can go check that out. Just look up thesharkthatroared.com. It'll take you to the Kickstarter page.
Perfect. We'll definitely check that out. And we will chat with you more about it offline right now.
Absolutely.
But let's go ahead and close the show out, and then we'll give you a proper goodbye. So just hang tight real quick.
Oh, wait. Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, you can find me at Bryan Lewandowski on Instagram and or Facebook. I usually go to Facebook just because I'm lazy, and that's the easiest way I can find you.
Me too.
And the resolution sucks on Instagram. I'm a visual person. Why isn't anyone calling out how shitty that resolution is? Excuse my
French.
Point. The resolution's so bad, and even the dimensions are just so. I can't stand Instagram. But usually, Facebook is where to find me for most things.
So find them on Facebook, everybody.
Absolutely. Sounds great, brother. Well, like I said, hang on. We'll go ahead and say goodbye to you here in a shortly, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you, guys.
All right. That could have gone on for another. I mean, I kept looking at the clock thinking, like, my God, we're only the last 10 minutes of the show. We haven't brought up Jaws yet. So I had to.
I know. I was watching the clock, and I was like, we got to get Jaws in for Rick. If
not, we're going to make this show even longer because it's going to happen. So that's it. So. All right. Well, thank you guys again for joining us. Great conversation. We're going to be chatting with Bryan here offline here, but just to let you know that next week we'll be chatting with Chase Dudley. Those of you who are not.
Oh, Chase! I love Chase.
Yep, love Chase too. We've been trying to get him on the show for the longest time, so it looks like the stars are finally aligned. So we'll chat with him next week. So I guess with that said, we'll see you guys next Wednesday.